Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
To Thursday.
Wow, throw in the Thursday. I like that.
We got to go out, you and I got to go out and hit golf balls yesterday. Even the incomparable Liz Brush, the voice behind our introduction, was there with us. So it was great to actually hear that voice in person. And it was funny, she didn't do that thing the whole time. I was really excited. I thought she would start going. And now, ladies and gentlemen, every time one of us got ready to hit the ball, but she didn't.
I think you need some new adjectives. Adjectives.
Yeah, I do.
You called me incomparable. You just incomparable.
The Brush family is incomparable.
Fair enough.
One cannot compare with the Brush family,
well,
nor should one try.
On that note, we should get started. Morning, everyone. I'm Tom Brush. That is Bob Graham, and this is today's Antidote, our daily show broadcast, where we try to provide that one thing that's going to help you move forward. We're going to have a discussion about a topic. Our topic today is Renegades. It's been Renegades all week. So we're going to have a discussion about that. And we would love to get your comments as we go through this. And whether you comment on it while we're watching it, while we're doing it live, or if you are watching the replay, please feel free to comment, because we do go back and engage with these posts. And at the end of the day, if you have a different one thing than the one thing we share, please share it. Because what we say may help someone today or might help someone down the road. What you say may as well, because what is real for you is likely different than what is real for each of us. So please join us as we go through this discussion, as we talk and continue to talk about renegades, one of our favorite topics. And today we've been talking a little bit about what they are, what they aren't. Today we're going to try to help you find others. And that's our topic today, is finding other renegades. And so, Bob, do you want to kick us off on that?
I was going to say, before we get into that topic, I think we need to define what they are just once clearly. And I think we define renegades as those people, whether they're owners of businesses, entrepreneurs, founders, startups, whatever, people in companies, people in nonprofits, anyone who is trying to carve their own way through the world to achieve what they're trying to achieve. And they're the people that ask the question, what if? They're the people who ask the question, why do we do it this way again? Help me understand. And they're not the ones who go, oh, right, we've been doing this for the last 30 years. Let's keep doing it exactly that way. They're the ones who say, I got this idea. What if we added a little extra spice to this soup? Wouldn't that be worth trying? And they try those things and they find their way. They don't know all the answers going forward, but they know that if they're true to what their compass in their mind tells them they're trying to achieve, they will get there. So with that, I think we have to have the context, because you can't look for them unless you kind of know what they are, right?
You didn't want to say just go back and watch episode 300 or 263?
I did not, because I know I wouldn't do that, and I figured it would be a good refresher for me as much as anyone else.
Fair enough.
So now we know what they are.
Do we need to tell them what they aren't as well, briefly?
Sure, please. I'll let you do that, because I know that's one of your favorite topics.
One of my favorite topics is what renegades aren't. One of the things they aren't is reckless. And I think as a part of that, because I think when we're reckless, not only do we have the chance to hurt ourselves, we can hurt others. And that's not what a renegade does. Because a renegade does what's right for them, what's real, for them. And not just because they're going against something. Right. I had someone share that as, and the conversation was, a renegade is, I'm just going against the norm. I don't feel that as a renegade, that's not your purpose. Your intent is, this is what is real for me, and I am going to put it out there. So people who are reckless, you need to be careful around them. And those who are just doing it because they're going against something, I think they could be renegades, and that's not the only reason. It's because this is what is real for us. So now that we've set that stage, now people know what a renegade is, what they aren't. How do we find others?
You put up an ad on Facebook and you look for all that. You write all that out, Tom, in your personal profile with a nice picture. It's going to get interest, and then people will respond to that, right? I mean, isn't that?
I think that's what we've always done.
I think that's what we've always done. Here's the thing. Finding other renegades is not the easiest thing in the world. You and I are pretty good at it. And I would say we have some 820 some odd people in a Facebook group that we have corralled into a renegade community. But when we started out a year ago,
they have chosen to join this community. We didn't corral them. We just provided a space.
We gave them the opportunity, which up to that point wasn't available.
Correct.
We looked for it. It wasn't there. And to my knowledge, there isn't another renegade community out there that I can access. So we are, in some respects, the only game in town. Now, you might say, okay, that's really self-serving for you guys. Totally get what you're trying to do. You will find renegades other places. But part of being a renegade is I don't think renegades have a sign. You know, they don't go to networking events. They don't have a virtual Zoom and it doesn't say Bob Renegade.
I like that idea, though.
I wear the hat that says I'm a renegade, and every networking event you do on Zoom, someone's like, so what's a renegade? Oh, or if they go, oh, I love your hat, then you know it's worth the discussion. That might be it. Maybe we need to come up with renegade hats, Tom.
No, not at the moment. Keep going.
So you got to look for them, and you got to look for those qualities. And for me, the renegades I have found, or the renegades who have found me, have always been in a discussion where we go past the usual. You and I started talking, and we would look at situations and say, you know, I just don't understand why they do it this way. If it were me, I'd do it this way. I wonder if they'd ever consider changing this thing. Or let's add this. You and I belong to a different organization, and we got that group involved in doing some networking events. They'd never done that before. And we run those events. You run most of those events. And they are completely different than what the expectation is. Even our Renegade networking events, and we have one next week, Tuesday at 8:30 a.m., I believe, Eastern time. Even our networking events are a little different. And one of the things I like is when we do those networking events and people come into that room, it reinforces that they're renegades, because they don't go, this isn't what I expected. They're like, wow, this is kind of cool. Okay, I'm willing to try something different. And I think finding them is the more I am my real renegade, the more those people that are renegades will gravitate towards me. And at the same time, the people who are not renegades will often start to slide off because the water's getting deeper. They don't think they can swim in that water. And that's fine. That's a choice. I don't have a problem with that. But I recognize that some people are like, dude, you are totally, I don't know what you're even thinking. And you and I have had through this whole process with the Ring of Renegades and the Renegade Success Network, people telling us this won't work. We've had some great people saying this will work, but plenty of people telling us those people aren't going to come together. They're not going to do the things that you think they're going to do. And we've been undeterred. And part of why I think we have been able to have so many renegades join us is we've been renegades with what we're doing. And I don't know if you've had this experience, but when I talk to some people and invite them into this, they go, that's cool. Seriously? You're doing that? And it's like, you are a renegade. Versus the person who goes, well, I'll check it out and see if it might fit. You know, I got a lot going on. It's like, no, you're not a renegade.
Right.
Wish I could reject that invitation. And
yes.
And that's part of it. But I really go back. I know it's funny when I say we don't wear name tags that say renegade, but that's part of the complication here is we don't wear name tags that say Renegade. We don't say Renegade because we're not complete renegades. We're not everything I do is a renegade thing. I probably 80%, 85% of what I do is what everyone else doing my type of work would do. It's the 15% I think that makes me the renegade. Wouldn't you say, Tom?
Well, I might challenge you on that. No one else is going to do it exactly the way you're going to do it.
Okay,
they don't
fair
have your
enough.
knowledge, experience, and perspective, right? They even if you had the exact same slides,
Good
the
point.
mannerisms are going to be different. The words you emphasize are going to be different. The language you use is going to be different. So in reality, there's no way that anyone else is going to do it exactly the same way you will.
Even my filler words would be different.
Even your filler
See what
words.
I did there, Tom?
Thanks.
I'm going to bring in a comment from Tim. The great thing about the Ring of Renegades is that there's so many different types of people there, and yet we all have a similar mindset. I think there might be more renegades still out there. I know they're out there, Tim. In fact, that's one of the things that Tom and I spend a lot of time on. How can we find more renegades? Because the bigger that community is, the more opportunity we all have to discover, to learn, to find out what's real with other people, and to help that become part of what we understand so we can create our new reality.
Yeah, I would agree. And one of the things I like about this quote is there are so many different types of people. And I think that's one of the ways I was thinking as you were talking about the ways of finding other renegades and how difficult it is. Sometimes I think it can be easy. And I say that because I think people who share what's real for them, even though it may go against what's real for us or may not be what we believe to be real, is them being a renegade. They're sharing what's for them. And so I think sometimes it's interesting to me. Some of the people who we may be most aligned with in thinking about being a renegade are those who share ideas that are completely different from ours. And so it's almost like if you find somebody who shares information that you might not necessarily agree with, that's okay. They are sharing what's real for them. And what you share together is that renegade spirit, the renegade sense of this is what is real for me. Now, the challenge is when you're reckless is when you just immediately react and tell them why they're wrong, why what they're saying doesn't make sense, give them 8 million other examples for why you're right and they're wrong. Now you've stopped being a renegade. Now you're telling them that you are right. And that's, as you know, one of those words that I don't like to use. I want to say this is what's real. And if we're thinking about it as all they are doing is sharing what is real for them, what their knowledge, experience, and perspective has created for them as this is what's real. And all we are doing is saying, how does that impact, influence my knowledge, experience, and perspective to create what's real for me? And I think when we actually take time to listen to one another and see what they have to say, we have the chance to have our knowledge, experience, and perspective influenced. We might gain something that impacts who we are and what's real for us. And I think we've done that all our lives. We meet people and they share things with us. And if we are willing to actually listen and pay attention and not be defensive, not react, not make a judgment, just say, that's interesting. And you can say, this is what I see as real. And let's now, maybe we can have a conversation and find out why someone is sharing what they are sharing. And so in reality, sometimes I think renegades are easy to find if we are willing to accept and they are willing to believe that what they are sharing is what is real for them, knowing that it could be dramatically impacted every day as we gain more knowledge, experience, and perspective.
And you don't, that was pretty nice. You don't have to have complete alignment with someone else. There are people that I consider renegades that have helped me personally and professionally. Their political views are so afield of mine. Their social lives are completely different than mine. The types of cars they drive, the things they do are completely different than mine. But where we align might be on just one area. And that one area, when they say something to me, it's like, ooh, I got to listen. I was thinking as you're talking, Tom, that I met a guy it's been about 18 months ago. Met him through LinkedIn. We were talking on the phone. He was a coach like me. And we were talking about what worked and what didn't work. And I gave him a couple things that I was doing. This was before you and I started this. And he said to me, you know what's working really well for me is 15-minute coaching calls. And I said to him, my first reaction, tell me more. That was the single best question I could have asked because he mapped it out for me and said, here's where the benefits are, here's where it works. And I started to process that. I started to talk to other people about it, see what people thought. And I used it with a client. And it was like, oh, this is awesome. This is great. I love it. And then you and I started using it with our laser solution sessions, all because the guy said something to me I'll never forget. I said to him point blank, no, that can't wait. Tell me more. And he went through it and he said, it is a game changer. And I listened and I didn't just write it off. And that's a person that I haven't talked to since then. He and I have never done any business together. And we had literally only been on the phone for 3 minutes when we got into this discussion. And it had a profound effect on me and my business because I'm willing to consider anything that works. And if it was working for him, hey, maybe it would work for me. Maybe it work for you. Maybe it would work for anyone. And he said to me, he sent me an email afterwards and he said, you're the first person I've brought that up to who coaches who didn't say never. It's like, okay, that's good feedback. And I think renegades are the ones who take those things. And I find the more I embrace what's uncomfortable for me, when someone says something to me that's really uncomfortable, that's when I think I'm my best renegade, to listen to them and not to defend. Oh, no, you're wrong. Tell me more. And really take it in, not rebut it, not refute it, not, oh, you don't know, you've never been in my shoes. No, they haven't. But to me, if someone's willing to share with me something that's of value to them, something they've discovered, I feel it's almost karma that I get the privilege to hear. And I wonder as I look back on my career, how many times someone said something to me that would be really valuable to me. And I was too busy going, no, right. That's, oh, you're old. You don't understand. You don't know what it's like to be in my 20s. Maybe they do.
Well, and I think that's the thing, right? Is that it may or may not, the amount of influence it has on you can be different. Like he could have said that and he'd be like, yeah, that's interesting. I had never thought about that. And still chosen to go on and do whatever you were doing before. Just knowing that, though, allowed you to expand your knowledge, experience, and perspective. And so now you had a chance to be like, that's interesting. Maybe this is a way. Maybe there is an opportunity. But when we believe we are right, we stop listening. We shut down. We start being like, yeah, keep talking or whatever. Or what happens more and more today is we jump in and defend why we are right. And now it breaks into an argument rather than the opportunity to just sit and listen and say, that's interesting. Tell me more. Thank you for sharing. Because they are doing exactly what is real for them, sharing what's real. And in reality, if we all don't share what's real, people are missing out on those aha moments. Whether those aha moments are huge, hugely impactful, or they're just a minor influence. If we don't share what is real for us in a way that is just, it is real, not that it is right, we have the opportunity to impact others. And I think if we don't, we are being selfish with what we have been given.
Indeed. I want to bring some more comments, and we've got some great comments. Tim says, Tom is exactly right. There you go, Tom. I've been waiting all day for that.
It's real.
Sharing our own reality helps others see who we are. When someone shares the reality with us, it helps us to see who they are. When someone shares the reality with us, it helps us see who they are. By understanding each other better, we learn and grow in wonderful new ways. And that's ultimately where I think the benefit of Renegades getting together is. That they start to understand each other. And I don't care about your politics. I don't care about whether you live in an apartment or whether you drive a Ferrari. I care about What do you know that makes sense to you that maybe I can incorporate into my thinking? Not that I have to change and be you, but there might be some little tidbit you give me that changes the game for me. Another comment, this is from John. John Cerisi, always agree. It is important to listen. Yes, I like the 4 alwayses.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, but I think that's one of the things about Renegades. I didn't think of it till just this minute. Renegades really do listen. They're trying to understand more. So to understand more, you have to listen more. You can't be the one always talking. You have to be the one absorbing and going, oh, that's what someone else said. Oh, wait, that sounds similar to what those 4 other people said. You and I were looking at a post on Facebook that someone posted to a completely different group, different thing. And we were dissecting it because the person was talking about things that really would help us with what we were doing. And we were literally parsing every single word. Not like, oh, Tom, we should use that word. Oh, Tom, that's the right word. It was like, oh, wow. That's a good perspective. Geez, we really should integrate that into what we're thinking. Well, and then let me just one more comment. Sorry. Wally says, our minds are like parachutes. They are most effective when open. Great stuff, fellas. Thank you, Wally. Great to see you here. Keep coming back.
Yeah, Wally's a good friend of mine from college. What I was going to share with that is that
does he know you as Tom or Tommy?
Tom. There's only a couple people who know me as Tom. My parents and a couple of my high school friends. That's
okay. I couldn't remember if it was high school or college friends.
No, it's high school friends.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And that's another whole story. We won't get into that. What I was going to share was that listening is important. And I think there is another way to listen we can observe. What I have found is that I'm fascinated by watching people. Like I could go to the mall and just sit at the mall and just watch people walk by. And just as a way to try to understand, kind of the human condition. And I think, we used to, the old saying in fundraising was you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So you should listen twice as much as you speak. What I would offer is that not only do you have 2 ears, you have 2 eyes. And our friend Sharon even added in a third, you have 1 heart. And so if you start to use those other 3 means of information, hearing, understanding with your heart, and seeing and observing 4 or 5 times as many times as you speak, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to be influenced and you're going to have a better understanding of whatever it is, the people you're with, the clients that you have, the customers that you have, your team members. If you're a leader who all they do is talk, at some point, your team, they're just going to tone out. They're not going to pay attention. They're just like blah, 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 blah. There they are. They're going to be the teacher on Snoopy or on Peanuts. Wah, 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 wah. And that's the way they won't pay attention. But if you actually ask them and then you listen to what they have to say, you watch how they are interacting with one another and interacting and engaging with you, and you really take that from a place of your heart, how much different will you be impacted? And how will that change what's real for you and how you share that with others? What would your meetings look like if you did 1/5 of the talking and you spent more time listening and observing?
Even if you're the leader.
Even if that's what I'm saying, because if you are the leader, what if your plan was at your next meeting with your team, your goal was to speak 20% of the entire meeting?
I've actually worked with people where I've said to them, not only should you not say anything, why don't you let someone else on your team plan the meeting and run it and literally back away. And it's amazing how that opens up completely different avenues because that person brings what's real to them to it. And the leader, like, I didn't even think about that. Wow. I used to do that when I was teaching. I would have days where students would teach in groups. They would teach the same concepts I taught, and they do it beautifully in ways that my mind was blown. They'd find videos that I had never seen. They'd bring references in. They'd talk about, things social things that I was, one of them had rap lyrics that matched up to what we were studying. And they're like, you've heard of Drake. I'm like, yeah, I've heard of Drake, but I couldn't tell you much about Drake. And they went through, and it was amazing to see that difference. So, Tom, we need to get to that one thing. But first, we need to do some calendar marking. Tomorrow at 11:30 a.m., we'll be doing our clubhouse, our Friday clubhouse, which is lessons learned. That's 11:30 a.m. Eastern time on Clubhouse. If you haven't been to Clubhouse, contact Tom or me. We've got some invites we can give you. John Cerisi, I've got one waiting for you. I'll send it to you later this morning. I heard you were looking for one. That Friday Clubhouse room, we'll talk about what you learned over the week. This is a chance for renegades to share with each other what we've discovered over the week. We did it last week. It was awesome. I learned a lot. Every one of the clubhouses we've done has been a real gold mine and just a great opportunity. And also, Tom, I know you don't have a graphic for this, so I'll just fake my way through it. Mark your calendars, folks, for Monday, March 22nd. Do you have a graphic?
I thought about it, but I didn't think you'd go there, so I was going to have it ready for tomorrow.
Mark your calendars for March 22nd, either 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern time or 7 p.m. to 8:30 a.m. p.m. 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So 10 to 11:30 a.m. or 7 to 8:30 p.m. We'll be doing a workshop. This is going to be a workshop focused on eliminating and I totally just lost the word, eliminating your obstacles. Thank you. We're going to really look at how you can make the rest of the year even more productive than you can imagine, more successful. And the reason we're doing this at the end of March is this is about the time that we start to go, wow, there's things that I thought were going to happen this year that were just going to magically fix my business, fix my whole work environment. Everything was going to be great. Now's the time where you have that dose of reality and go, I need to figure some things out. So we're going to help you figure some things out. It's a totally free workshop. And the workshops Tom and I do are not like sit and let us talk. They are highly engaging. I know you don't like when I say it that way, but that's how it comes to me. So please mark your calendars for that. We will have details for that. Hopefully by tomorrow, there'll be a place where you can sign up. But March 22nd, a Monday, it's right in the middle. Smack dab in the middle of March Madness. Ooh, I said it. I don't know. I think I can say it in that context. But we're going to have our own madness as we get to a better place with your business, with your entrepreneurial efforts and whatever. So, Tom, with that, what's the one thing you got for us today?
I think when we are trying to find others who are like us, we need to look in uncommon places. We need to look in those places that we don't always go. Because now we are opening ourselves up to new ideas and new perspectives and people who are willing to share it in a way that is just real, not that it is right. No one is telling us this is what's right and you have to follow it. Just sharing it as an idea. And so I think if you find yourself always in the same places, you are likely only hearing what you want to hear. I think Wally has this comment, which is actually helpful to this. Unfortunately, a lot of us suffer from confirmation bias. So we don't listen fully and assume we are hearing something that we've already heard or believe. Often that leads us listening to respond instead of listening to comprehend. Great quote. Thanks, Wally. Thanks for the comment.
And think about that, Tom. How long has it been since you and Wally were in college together? A number of years. And here you are way down the road, and the two of you are renegades.
Correct.
You weren't talking about being renegades 30 years ago. I will almost guarantee it. That word did not come out of your mouths.
No, although what I would offer, even though we didn't have the word, and I think Wally would agree, is that we both did what we believed. We acted the way what was real for us. And we were open to listen to what others had to say. And I think that was one of the greatest things about my college experience was I met people who had unbelievably, what was real for them was very different than what was real for me at the time. And because I was willing to listen, it completely changed and shaped a huge part of who I am today.
It's the beauty of college. And Wally also says, I don't know if you saw this, Tom, there it goes. Enjoy your show, Tom and Bob. Love that. Thank you. That's great, Wally. It makes my morning. It truly does. So, Tom, why don't we wrap this up? I've previewed things. I've explained what renegades are. We've explained where to find them. We've got a checklist that we've done a whole lot on today.
Yes, indeed. And so if this is something that if you're enjoying this conversation, the thoughts and things that we're sharing of what is real for us, and you'd like to find a place where you can do that, and you're not already a part of the Ring of Renegades, please join our Ring of Renegade Facebook group. It's easy to do. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and then you can ask to join. It is a private group because, again, we want a space. As I shared at the beginning, we have created a space where renegades can come in and share what is real for them and where they are not going to be judged. They're not going to be told that they are wrong, and they're going to have an opportunity to hear others share the same thing. And so they may be influenced. So if that sounds like a community you'd love to be a part of, all you need to do is ask to join and then tell us why you're a renegade. And you can become a part of our growing community that is helping leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs, professionals figure out how to take the next step along their own unique pathway to success. So with that, we hope we will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow at Clubhouse. And we will be here tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern Time, for our next edition of today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone. And here is some further information about the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Take care.
Carving your own path is tough. You want and need a community to offer you insights and advice, share inspiration, provide support, and save you time and money. But where do you find all that? Here's the easy answer: the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners identify their next steps. Here's some of what you will find at the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Just go to ringofrenegades.com and join today. Find and accomplish those next steps.